When anyone mentions Alice in Wonderland Dark Ride, any Disney fan will immediately think of the Disneyland Anaheim version, constructed by Aerodynamics and opened on June the 14th, 1958. But do you know there is also another sister Alice Dark Ride, constructed again by Aerodynamics, but this time located in the British holiday resort of Blackpool, Lancashire. Hello, I'm Disney Dave, and welcome to my channel. Here you can find things all Disney and Walt Disney World. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified when new content is uploaded. The Pleasure Beach theme park can be found in the Seaside Family Resort of Blackpool, Lancashire. This has been in operation since 1896 and is classed as one of the top 10 theme parks in the world. Blackpool's Pleasure Beach Alice in Wonderland Dark Ride is a classic family favourite which opened in 1961 and is housed in a 10,000 square foot stone castle. This dark ride was designed by Arrow Development and was the first Arrow ride outside the United States of America. So, how did an Alice in Wonderland themed dark ride end up in a theme park in Blackpool, Lancashire, England, with no connection whatsoever with Disney? Well, it's a great story. When Walt Disney and his team were scouting the world for ideas for his up-and-coming new theme park, his team would regularly visit the Pleasure Beach. In the early 1950s, Amanda Thompson, the then owner of Pleasure Beach, invited Walt Disney himself over to see the park. Apparently, Walt loved the atmosphere of the park, as well as what they were trying to do at the Pleasure Beach, with a slightly more upmarket aim than the more common fun fairs that had been around up until then. After the visit, Leonard and Walt ended up being really good friends. So much so, he returned a favour by allowing its longtime partner Arrow Developments to build the Alice ride for Blackpool Pleasure Beach under licence. It opened 3 years after Disneyland's own Alice in Wonderland ride and was built on a fraction of the budget, around £50,000. The Pleasure Beach's Alice ride is a dark ride through scenes from Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventure in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Guests are seated in Cheshire Cat themed carriages, some of which contain models of characters from the books. The interior scenes are lit up by ultraviolet lights, resulting in vividly colourful settings. They are populated by animatronic recreations of the popular characters from the books, such as the White Rabbit and of course Alice herself. As you board your vehicle and tumble down the rabbit hole into the ride, the striking similarities mostly fade out. Riders go on a bright and charming adventure throughout Wonderland, first being greeted by a very late white rabbit and soon travelling through a colourful flower bed, a giant game of croquet, and eventually ending up with the playing cards being defeated as you leave via the track theme as a vine. While the version at Disneyland uses voiceovers and sound effects for audio, this ride has a catchy soundtrack that sounds pretty similar to the I've Got a Golden Ticket tune from the movie adaptation of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Despite this, the soundtrack situation is probably just coincidence. Alice in Wonderland opened with the music in 1961, 10 years before the movie was released. While this British version is not on par with Disney's own Alice in Wonderland ride, the Alice ride is still better than most family dark rides in the UK. Kids will enjoy the colourful scenes, and even all adult groups will find the psychedelic theming amusing. The British Alice ride was essentially a present from Walt Disney, because Blackpool was one of the parks that inspired Walt Disney to build theme parks. It's also quite incredible now to think that Blackpool's Pleasure Beach was in fact perhaps a large inspiration for the Disney theme parks around the world today. Alice's Wonderland is one of the lesser known attractions at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and is still one of the few dark rides in the UK that still holds the unique nostalgia and charm some parks have lost over the years. If you're ever at the Blackpool Pleasure Beach and have a bit of free time, This 3-minute experience is a great way to relax and take in the magic of the park.